Exposed, how my sister dismissed me as an HVAC tech then discovered my life-changing support. Jake had dreams, glittering and hopeful, of rebuilding his life after the military. He wanted to be a reliable HVAC technician in his little Midwestern town of Maplewood, where neighbors helped neighbors, and a simple smile was enough to warm the coldest days. Yet here he was, heart sinking, when Emily, the sister who always soared above him, saw his ambitions as a waste. Her glossy world of high-end homes and flashy deals made Jake feel like a shadow. How could she think something so noble, so essential, was beneath him? He thought of the struggles, the sweat of those who needed heat in winter, and yet Emily's dismissive gaze haunted him, hanging heavy on his chest. As storm clouds rolled over Maplewood, Jake's worries only deepened. Dark skies hinted at something brewing, both weather-wise and in his family. But when the tempest hit, rage and fury filled the air, uprooting trees and plunging homes into chaotic darkness. The town quivered. While others panicked, Jake's heart raced with purpose. This was his time. He jumped into action, fixing heating systems and moving fallen branches, hands calloused but determined. It felt good to help, good to be needed. Meanwhile, Emily faced her own tempest. The storm had laid waste to luxury listings she had worked so hard for, turning her polished world into a wreck of disappointment. She struggled to juggle clients and fix a career that had now taken a brutal blow. She watched Jake from a distance, seeing the gratitude from neighbors pouring on him like a warm blanket. The tides of this storm changed him. They recognized his dedication and hard work, raising him to a level she never thought possible. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The community, resilient as ever, organized a rooftop fundraiser to help those impacted by the storm. Jake worked tirelessly, his spirit rising higher than the clouds that had once darkened the sky. The laughter and warmth of neighbors filled the rooftop, awakening life in heartbroken Maplewood. Yet as Jake stood fixing roofs and lifting spirits, Emily began to feel the stirrings of something more. Her brother, this once dismissed HVAC technician, was thriving, swelling with a quiet dignity she had always looked past. Under the flickering overhead lights, emotions swirled. In that moment filled with laughter and memories, she saw the gratitude in the eyes of the community as they praised Jake. Here he stood, not just as an HVAC tech, but as a local hero. The crowd's admiration hit her like a wake-up call. Heart racing, she knew she had to talk to him. Was she ready? Would Jake forgive her for not seeing his worth before? The night held its breath, the air thick with unspoken possibilities. As she stepped toward her brother, could they finally bridge the gap between them? Under the gaze of neighbors who deemed them both important, the tension crackled. The future was unclear, but one thing was certain: their lives were about to change. Emily took a deep breath, her heart pounding as she approached Jake. The laughter around them felt distant, swallowed by her own anxiety. She searched his face for signs of resentment but found none. Instead, there was something more profound, an openness that almost took her breath away. He looked different in that moment, illuminated by the warm glow of gratitude from their neighbors. It was as if the storm had stripped away their past to reveal the essence of who he really was. "Jake," she started, her voice shaking slightly. "Can we talk?" He turned, his smile brightening as he met her gaze. "Of course, Em. What's up?" There was a kindness in his eyes that made her feel small, yet hopeful all at once. The crowd cheered as a local band struck up a lively tune, momentarily drowning out their exchange. Jake gestured toward a quieter area near the rooftop's edge, away from the hustle and bustle. They stepped into the shadows, where the cool night air could settle their emotions. "Look," Emily said, her words tumbling out in a rush. "I've been thinking about everything. I never realized how hard you worked or how much you truly care about our community. I've been so wrapped up in my own world, I lost sight of what really matters." She paused, chewing on her lower lip, fighting the well of tears threatening to spill over. Jake's expression shifted. There was no trace of anger, just a tentative interest, like a flower opening to sunlight. I appreciate you saying that, Em. I really do. I used to think you saw me as just a failure. But he hesitated, glancing away for a brief moment. But this storm and all that happened, it made me realize how important it is to lift each other up. Maybe I'm finally finding my place here. Emily felt a weight lift from her chest. She reached out, placing a gentle hand on his arm. I'm sorry I didn't support you sooner. I was scared you were throwing your life away. But watching you, it's incredible, Jake. You're not just an HVAC tech. You're a lifesaver. His eyes softened, and for a moment, they shared a silent understanding. The space between them, once filled with doubt and hurt, began to dissolve, replaced by something unspoken yet powerful: hope. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot, he replied, his voice steady. I just wanted to do something that mattered. And honestly, I've missed you. I didn't want our relationship to become another casualty of life's choices. She smiled, feeling a warmth spreading through her chest. We can make up for lost time. You don't have to do this alone, you know. But before Jake could respond, a loud crash cut through the night. They both whipped around, startled. Someone from the crowd had slipped, sending a wave of gasps through the party as the music fell silent. Jake! A neighbor shouted, pointing toward the edge of the rooftop, where several people were rushing to help. In an instant, Jake transformed. All previous conversations faded into the background as he rushed forward. Without thinking, he leaped into action, taking charge of the situation. Emily watched, her heart swelling with pride and admiration. She stepped close, ready to support him however she could. In that electrifying moment, both terrifying and exhilarating, she realized her brother was not just any tech, he was a man ready to confront chaos, a beacon in the tumult. For the first time, she fully understood the strength he possessed, but as chaos unfolded around them, one question lingered in Emily's mind. Would this new bond withstand the pressures of their worlds colliding? What awaited them after this storm? As the night spiraled into uncertainty, she knew they had only just begun to navigate the storm ahead. In the midst of the confusion, Jake reached the edge of the rooftop and knelt beside the person who had fallen, a small blonde woman in a floral dress. Panic coursed through Emily as she watched Jake assess the situation. He was in his element, just as he had been during the storm, but this time, it felt personal. Can you hear me? Are you okay? Jake's voice was calm, steady, almost soothing against the backdrop of anxious whispers. He gently lifted the woman's head, checking for any signs of serious injury. Emily felt a rush of admiration swell within her, watching how effortlessly he took command. She just slipped, but we need to be careful, another neighbor shouted, trying to navigate through the crowd gathering around them. Emily squeezed her eyes shut for a moment, battling fear and an overwhelming urge to run to Jake's side. Instead, she took a step back, giving him space, but her heart raced. Even in chaos, he had the ability to shine. As Jake continued to assess the woman's condition, asking her questions, talking her through the moment, Emily noticed the gentle connection they shared. His words weren't just practical, they were heartfelt. He was calming not only her but also the growing panic of the crowd. A chill wrapped around Emily as she stepped forward, her voice barely breaking through the din. Jake, is she okay? He looked up, his brows slightly furrowed. She's conscious, Emily. That's a good sign. But we need to get her sitting up and checked by a medic. The woman groaned slightly, and Emily felt a wave of empathy wash over her. She had never seen Jake like this, focused, determined, and completely in tune with someone else's pain. In that moment, his past struggles seemed so far away, like ghosts vanishing into the night. Suddenly, the sound of sirens filled the air, the flashing lights illuminating the dark rooftop, casting flickering shadows on their faces. The medics rushed up, taking control of the situation. Jake stepped back, his role shifting from rescuer to supportive brother. A moment of stillness enveloped them as the emergency personnel evaluated the blonde woman. A wave of relief surged through Emily. I'm proud of you, Jake," she whispered, feeling the weight of unspoken words lifted between them. He met her gaze, and in his eyes, she saw gratitude mixed with a flicker of vulnerability. "Thanks, Em. But I was just doing what needed to be done." Before she could respond, the woman, now being helped onto a stretcher, looked up at Jake, eyes shimmering with gratitude. "Thank you for not letting me go." Jake's cheeks flushed slightly as he shrugged, trying to brush off the compliment, but Emily noticed the small smile on his lips, the way it lit his face. As the medics wheeled the woman away, the crowd began to disperse, talking animatedly about the incident. Emily felt a rush of warmth and affection for her brother, sensing a transformative moment for them both. This chaos had not only revealed Jake's strength but had also drawn her out, a reminder of the bond they once shared. "Let us grab a drink," she said, trying to lighten the moment, her voice breaking slightly with emotion. "We need to celebrate your heroics." Jake chuckled, still looking a bit dazed but grateful. "Only if we get my favorite." As they walked back into the party, the energy felt different, lighter. There was laughter again, but it was richer this time, a sense of togetherness that Emily hadn't felt before. The storm had passed, but the aftermath was still raw, shifting. Just then, Jake turned, a thoughtful look in his eyes. "You know, I've been thinking, maybe we could do something together. Something that matters to us both." Emily's heart raced at his words. She felt that old playground feeling of excitement, a tingle of possibility that they were standing at the edge of something big, an opportunity to heal, to grow, and to redefine their relationship. But what kind of project was he envisioning, and how would it intertwine their lives? The uncertainty hung in the air, promising an adventure they both needed. As they entered the crowd, ready to toast to a fresh start, a new chapter loomed just on the horizon. The noise of the party welcomed them back like an old friend, laughter and chatter spilling through the air, mingling with the sweet aroma of barbecue. Emily glanced at Jake, her heart still racing from the moment they had just witnessed. Could it be something about helping others? She ventured, trying to gauge just how deeply Jake wanted to engage in whatever idea had ignited in his mind. Jake glanced around, his eyes scanning the crowd. "I mean, yeah. Helping. But more like, raising awareness. I've been thinking lately about how people don't really understand what we do in our jobs. It's like they see the end product but not the everyday struggles." His expression turned serious as he continued, "I thought maybe we could start something, raise awareness about safety, maybe even do workshops." Emily blinked, taken aback. This was more substantial than she expected. Workshops? Like, for folks who want to learn about emergency preparedness or home safety? Her excitement matched the glint in his eyes. "Exactly," Jake replied, both enthusiasm and seriousness settling on his shoulders. "I want to show people it's not just me fixing systems, this is about understanding how to keep everyone safe, not just in homes but in life." The thought of working together sparked a thrill within her. Memories of their childhood flooded back. They had tackled so much together back then. As adults, they had drifted, but this could be a bridge to reconnect each other. "Jake, I think that's amazing," she exclaimed, her voice rising slightly. "We could partner with the local community center, offer free sessions. I can help organize it." As they discussed logistics, the energy of the party swirled around them in a blur. They belonged in this moment not just to the crowd but to each other, united by a common purpose that felt new and exciting. But just as they were absorbed in plans, a familiar voice jolted Emily out of her reverie. "Hey, Emily. Got a moment?" It was Mia, an old friend from high school, approaching with a smile that faded slightly as she noticed Jake's intensity. "Is everything okay? I heard something crazy happened on the roof." Jake's expression softened. "Just a small incident. Nothing serious." But there was a glimmer of pride in his voice, a quiet reminder that he had stepped up in a way that had not gone unnoticed. "Still, that's intense. You should share the story." Mia encouraged, her energy infectious. Emily exchanged a look with Jake. The warmth between them felt magnetic, the desire to open up about their lives flickering in her chest. "Yeah, maybe I'll share how he saved the day." Their banter drew in others, transforming what had begun as a chaotic night into an impromptu narrative web, everyone eager to hear the tale. As Jake took a breath, preparing to recount the events of the rooftop, Emily felt an irresistible urge to connect deeper, to reveal the shift this incident had sparked within them. But in the midst of that joyous moment, her mind raced. What if sharing their story opened a door they weren't ready for? What if people reacted differently than they anticipated? Fighting those doubts, she pulled Jake aside, away from curious ears. What if we also talked about our own struggles while we spread the message? Like, how sometimes people don't recognize our worth. Jake looked taken aback. You think people are unaware of our background? Maybe, but that's what makes it powerful. Showing that we're more than our jobs, we're a team, we're siblings. Silence hung between them, thick with unspoken revelations. Emily could see the wheels turning in his head. Okay, Jake finally said, the gravity of her words settling in. But we have to be honest. About everything. Outside the crowded hall, the night sky was vast and open, reflecting the uncertain and exciting journey ahead. But where would this honesty lead them? What parts of their past were they ready to expose? As they stared into the sea of stars, a newfound determination flickered between them. A fresh sense of purpose mingled with the fear of exposing themselves fully. What would it mean to be completely vulnerable? To shed layers they had carried for so long? Their adventure was just beginning, and with every heartbeat, Emily could feel the pulse of something transformative rising on the horizon. The laughter and music from the party ebbed and flowed, but for Emily and Jake, time paused in that moment. Stars twinkled above as they stood beneath their familiar night sky. With Jake's acceptance of their plan, the weight of their lives pressed down on them. Would they reveal their past, both the bright and the dark, and share their struggles with the world? Emily took a deep breath, feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension wash over her. Okay, let us do it, she said, her voice steadying as the future loomed ahead. But if we're going to be honest, we need to talk about everything. Not just the good stuff. What do you mean? Jake asked, confusion flickering across his face. I'm talking about our experiences growing up, the tough moments that shaped us. The times we struggled to be seen for who we truly were. We can't just focus on the success. People need to understand that behind every skill, their essay story, Emily replied, her heart pounding with every word. Jake nodded slowly. Yeah, I get that. It's not just about safety, it's about being human, authentic. As they walked back toward the party, a poignant memory flashed through Emily's mind. She could remember sitting in the back row in school, often overlooked, while Jake flourished in the spotlight. The pride she felt for him was unwavering, yet there was a lingering ache of being marginalized. Did anyone else share that experience? Would their honesty resonate with others? They rejoined the crowd, laughter enveloping them. Mia was still nearby, absorbing the energy of the conversation. What did I miss? She asked, bouncing on her heels, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Just talking about our next big project, Emily replied, her smile bright even as beneath it, her nerves danced. Big project? Sounds thrilling. Mia leaned in closer. What's it about? We want to start workshops about safety and emergency preparedness. But we want to make it more personal, share our own journeys too, Jake said, the conviction in his voice firm. Mia gasped, a look of genuine admiration crossing her face. That's incredible. People need to hear that. The crowd around them shifted, drawing closer with a mix of interest and eagerness. As Jake began to share snippets of their history, his voice grew stronger. He spoke of their childhood, their dreams, and the moments that had pushed them apart before bringing them back together. Each word carried a weight that pulled at hearts. Emily found herself listening, captivated by the honesty that radiated, but in the back of her mind, doubt flickered. She could sense the shifting dynamics of the crowd, some listening intently, others distracted. What if they turned away? What if their struggles created more distance rather than connection? The moment hung, heavy and electrifying. Just as Jake finished, laughter erupted from another corner of the party, drawing everyone's attention away. Don't let it distract you. Emily called out, clutching for their connection and focusing back on Jake. We have something real to share. She glanced around, trying to gauge reactions. Some people were leaning in, others seemed caught off guard. The vulnerability they shared stirred emotions, and Emily stopped, suddenly realizing she didn't want to hide anymore. Together, she said, looking straight into Jake's eyes, let us show them that it's okay not to be perfect, to have flaws, and to still care. Suddenly, a loud shout rang out from across the party. Someone had spilled a drink, and the ensuing chaos momentarily distracted everyone. Uncertainty rippled through Emily as she noticed renewed focus shifting back to the fun. Jake grabbed her hand. Let us take a moment, he said, his eyes filled with the same determination that had ignited their discussion. This isn't the end, it's just the beginning. With that, they stepped away from the crowd and into the night, both filled with determination and questions. What pieces of their past would they reveal? Would they be met with understanding, or would they be dismissed again? As they ventured deeper into the darkness, the stars above glimmered, echoing their resolve and uncertainty. What awaited them on this path of honesty? The night air wrapped around them, crisp and cool, as they walked in silence. Emily's heart raced, a wild drum echoing in her chest. Every step away from the party felt like stepping away from a world that had always insisted on smooth appearances. Jake's hand, warm in hers, brought both comfort and a reminder of the weight they were carrying together. Do you think they really want to hear our stories? Emily broke the silence, her voice barely rising over the soft rustle of leaves. I mean, will this all matter? Jake paused, looking up at the stars that twinkled like distant dreams. It has to matter. We matter. Our stories have shaped us, and if we don't share, how will anyone ever understand? But what if they think we're just whining? Or that we're trying to make excuses? A knot tightened in her stomach at the thought. Then they're missing the point. He squeezed her hand, grounding her. Our journey isn't about excuses, it's about rising above. Remember how we pulled each other up? That's what we'll share. He was right. They had fought for their place, not just in the world but within themselves. The memories surged like a wave, moments of rejection, doubt, and that haunting feeling of not being enough. But woven through it all was resilience. Jake's own journey from overlooked kid to celebrated advocate was proof of that. As they meandered away from the noise, Emily's thoughts drifted back to that pivotal day in high school when she had confronted her sister, Diane. Emily had just earned a spot at a prestigious summer writing camp, a dream she had cultivated for years. Excited, she rushed home to share her news, only to be met with an eye roll. Writing? Seriously? Why don't you focus on something real, like HVAC or something that actually matters? Diane had dismissed her with a wave of her hand, turning back to her magazines as if Emily's dreams were nothing but an annoying fly.in. That moment, all the warmth that once existed between them felt like it had turned to ice. Emily had left the room that day feeling unseen, hurt, and questioning her worth not just as a writer but as a sister, as a person. Emily? Jake's voice pulled her back to the present. You okay? With a soft exhale, she nodded, letting the past settle like dust in an old attic. Yeah, just thinking about the doubts that came from within my own family, the people who should have believed in me. Do you ever think about confronting her about it? Jake asked, concern etching his brow. I thought about it a million times. But it always felt too raw, too hard. I didn't want to hurt her further or myself. Jake looked deep into her eyes, searching for something he could not name. But if we're going to share our stories, we have to face those moments. It's terrifying, I know, but wouldn't it be freeing? A flutter of hope ignited within her. He was right. Facing the truth, confronting her own fears head-on, could unlock a part of her she had kept quiet for too long. Okay. I'll think about it, she said, determination creeping into her voice. But we'll have to prepare for the reactions, especially hers. They stood together, holding each other's gaze, breath sinking in a collective understanding that they were not alone in this. Unseen by them, a couple of guests from the party had wandered close, still laughing, oblivious to the profound moment unfolding. But the conversation between Emily and Jake needed to happen. As they turned to head back, a slight unease twisted in Emily's stomach again. Was she ready to reveal not only her achievements but those shadows standing behind her? The exact ones that had dimmed her light for so long? "Let us go back," Jake said, pulling her gently. "This is our time. We can do this." Stepping back into the laughter and music, Emily's heart remained heavy yet hopeful. What would they unearth when they faced their stories head-on? How would it feel to finally step into the light? As they stepped back into the party, the vibrant sounds wrapped around them like a warm blanket. But Emily felt a chill beneath the surface. Laughter echoed, but it felt distant. Her heart thudded in her chest, a steady reminder of everything she was about to face. Jake led the way towards the circle of friends who had formed in the backyard, but each step felt weighed down by the unspoken fears she was holding. Could they even understand? Would they listen? The moment they rejoined the group, Emily caught glimpses of familiar faces, friends ready to embrace them back into the fold, unaware of the storm brewing inside her. A round of applause followed as someone shared an entertaining story about a misadventure earlier that night. It was light-hearted, making everyone laugh, but Emily felt herself retreat, fading around the edges like an old photograph. "Hey! You too!" shouted Kyle, who had a smile that could light up the darkest room. "What did you think of the party? You missed some serious drama." She wanted to smile back, ride that wave of fleeting joy, but the words stuck in her throat. Instead, she shifted her feet, looking down for a moment, gathering courage from somewhere deep inside. "It's great." Jake jumped in, his voice cheerful. "Just taking a little breather is all. Emily and I had a pretty important talk." Kyle raised an eyebrow and turned to Emily. "Important talk? Do tell. We want to hear all the juicy bits." Suddenly, eyes turned towards her. A wave of warmth and pressure swarmed around Emily. The spotlight was on her. She hesitated, her heart pounding. Visions of confronting Diane flashed before her, words unsaid, stories left untold. "What kind of talk?" asked Mia, always quick to pick up on the slightest change in tone. "Is everything okay?" The openness in their faces made the knot in her stomach tighten. Would they really want to hear about her family tensions? About her sister's dismissive words? Was it even worth sharing? In that flash, the party felt like a kaleidoscope of emotions. She saw their kindness, their trust, and yet felt the terrifying vulnerability of opening up. "Actually, we were just," Emily started, but the thread of her thoughts unraveled. Her tongue felt heavy, words suddenly slipping away. She couldn't bring herself to say it. "It's about a dream we're both chasing," Jake jumped in again, sensing her hesitation. "Important stuff about our victories, but also the struggles we've faced along the way." Emily felt her pulse quicken at his encouragement. This was their moment. She could feel the sun rising slowly inside her, a small flicker of hope breaking through the gray. "I've been thinking," she began again, her voice steadier this time. "About sharing my stories, too. About moments that hurt. Like with my sister." The admission felt monumental, like stepping off a cliff. Jake nodded at her reassurance. "It's tough, Emily," he urged gently. "But it's worth it." As she spoke, she saw their faces. Their expressions shifted from curiosity to something deeper: sympathy, understanding, perhaps even a reflection of their own hidden wounds. Mia leaned closer. "You know, we've all been there, right? We all have stories that haunt us." The crowd quieted down, shifting from playful banter to attentive listeners. With each word spilling from her heart, Emily felt lighter, like a weight was being lifted. She spoke of her sister's dismissal, the sting of never being good enough, and how that echoed through her life. Just as she was about to delve deeper, a sudden ruckus interrupted them. A bunch of partygoers stumbled into the circle, laughing and shoving playfully, oblivious to the gravity of Emily's moment. The shift was abrupt, and the conversation flowed back to the merriment. Emily's heart sank, caught between wanting to scream for attention and breathing under the pressure of her reality. But there was a spark inside her now, a recognition that she wasn't alone, and then she noticed Jake, still beside her, unwavering in his support. "What do we do now?" she whispered, the question hanging heavy in the air. "Now?" Jake smiled, a glint of reassurance in his eyes. "Now we keep sharing, we break through the noise." What would it take to keep the conversation going against all odds? Would they have the courage to dive back in, even after being interrupted? The answer felt just out of reach, but it was there waiting to unfold. Emily's heart hammered in her chest, the excitement of sharing mingling with the fear of dismissal. Her words hung in the air, vibrating with unspoken longing. She glanced around, needing reassurance, hoping the glimmer she saw in Jake's eyes would illuminate a path forward. "I think we should keep this going," she whispered, her breath half a mantra. The laughter around them felt like a mockery, yet she sensed the space and the people within it were still hers to navigate. Just then, Mia leaned closer, her voice low but firm. "Do you want to continue talking? Because we're here for it. We want to hear what's weighing you down." The sincerity in Mia's tone caught Emily off guard. It felt like a lifeline thrown in turbulent waters, a chance to save herself from drowning in the noise. The crowd was loud, but here, in this small bubble, the world faded away. Taking a deep breath, Emily summoned the courage she had just begun to find. "It's just with my sister, it feels like I can never do anything right. Every time I try to share something important, she dismisses me. Makes me feel small." Murmurs broke through the air, soft expressions of empathy washing over her. Kind faces reflected back the moments of hurt they all shared, unearthing their own buried stories. "Join the club," Kyle chimed in, his tone playful yet tinged with an undercurrent of hurt. "Family can be tough, right? I mean, I have my fair share of those moments too. Like when I wanted to start music, everyone thought it was just a phase." Emily felt a flicker of solidarity ignite within her. She wasn't alone in this, and that thought warmed her. It was as if they were all unveiling their scars, sharing pieces of themselves, each one a thread weaving through the tapestry of friendship. Jake leaned forward, nodding. "It's ridiculous how we sometimes get caught in that trap. People just don't understand what it feels like to chase your dreams and not have your family support you." Emily felt herself nodding in agreement, a moment of clarity burrowing deep in her heart. She opened her mouth, intent on gathering their collective strength. "Exactly. It's like, for me, being a tech means so much more than just fixing things. I love it. I love the challenge. But instead of support, I get, well, this shadow of doubt. Have you ever thought of writing about these feelings?" Mia threw her another brilliant idea. "Your story could resonate with more people than you think." The concept landed like a gentle caress. It struck her, igniting a stream of possibilities. "I've never thought of that. Writing it down would let me process it, maybe even help someone else?" "Yes." Kyle beamed. "Imagine seeing that journey illustrated somewhere. You could inspire others." His enthusiasm was infectious, throbbing through her like electric pulses. Caught in the warmth of their encouragement, surrounding noise began to feel less daunting. They were creating a space full of validation, somewhere her struggles could bloom, and ideas take flight. Suddenly, the front door swung open, and a rush of cool breeze swept through, mingled with the excited shouts of new arrivals. The chaos filled the backyard momentarily, yet for Emily, it didn't drown her voice this time, it propelled her forward instead. "Let us do it. I want to write not just about my sister but everything," she exclaimed, her voice catching and spreading. "It's time I shared the whole truth." As the laughter and chatter continued to swirl around her, one thought settled in her mind: she was stepping into a world of her own making. Would she find her footing? Would her family understand her journey? "Let us make this a thing," Jake grinned, radiating confidence, and she could easily imagine them sitting together, scribbling, venting, evolving. Just as hope began to stir, Emily glanced at the arrival by the door and saw a figure move through the crowd. A chill skated down her spine. Diane was here, her presence a storm cloud hovering ominously over the moment. The wave of anxiety threatened to crash down on her enthusiasm. Would Diane dismiss her all over again? Emily's heart raced anew, mingling with the thrill of potential discovery. What would this meeting mean for her story? Would she have the courage to confront her? Emily's mind whirled as Diane approached, her tall frame cutting through the crowd like a lighthouse beam slicing through fog. Each step her sister took felt heavy, like the pounding of distant thunder warning of an impending storm. The laughter around her dulled, replaced by the rapid beat of Emily's heart, thudding in her ears. The weight of uncertainty pressed against her, thick and suffocating. Emily. Diane's voice was sharp, slicing through the ambient chatter. What are you doing here with all these people? There was a derisive edge that pinned Emily to the spot. She felt exposed, vulnerable under the scrutiny of her sister's gaze. Gathering her courage, Emily straightened. I'm just, sharing, she began, but the words stumbled and fell, losing their strength in the wake of Diane's disapproval. Sharing? Diane cut in, voice dripping with disdain. I thought you were busy fixing air conditioners, not socializing with friends. The word friends held a mocking tone, as though Diane could hardly believe Emily had a life beyond the shadows of family expectations. In that moment, the warmth that had enveloped Emily faded, replaced by a chilling reminder of how often Diane had been dismissive. Just as she was ready to retreat, Jake and Mia stepped closer, a barrier of support forming around her. Hey, Diane, Jake called out, his demeanor calm. We were actually just talking about how important it is to share what you care about. Emily's got some great ideas. Diane sneered. Important? She thinks writing is going to change everything? Come on, she rolled her eyes. It's just a phase, like that time she thought she could turn fixing things into a career. The sting of those words sent a pang through Emily's chest. How could Diane reduce something so vital to her into a fleeting whim? She took a breath, allowing her friend's presence to anchor her. Actually, Mia interjected suddenly, it's not just a phase. Emily's really passionate about it. Isn't that what matters? Her voice held an edge of defiance that Emily found invigorating. Diane scoffed, but a flicker of surprise crossed her face. For the first time, her sister seemed to grasp that Emily stood firm on her own. Passion doesn't pay the bills, Diane shot back, but the fierceness in her voice wavered just a bit. You need a backup plan. Something stable. Emily's heart raced, not from fear this time, but from a surge of determination. No, I don't, she declared, the strength rising from deep inside. I'm tired of feeling small. I want to write, to share my story, and I don't need anybody's approval to do that. The resolve in her voice caught her friends off guard, and for a moment, a hush fell over the crowd. The background noise faded as the truth she had kept buried erupted like a fountain, cleansing the doubts that had dogged her for years. A wave of empathy flowed among the friends. Kyle stepped forward, his expression set in earnest support. You've got a lot to say, Emily. And your voice matters, he added, Diane's brow furrowed as she processed this shift. For a second, it seemed like she might relent, see Emily for who she truly was instead of the shadow she often cast. But instead, Diane snorted. Good luck with that, but you know I want to be there to cheer you on, right? She turned to walk away, her words hanging coldly in the air behind her. In that moment, Emily felt an unexpected freeing sensation. Her sister's dismissal no longer held the power it once did. She was surrounded by friends who believed in her not just in words but with palpable fervor. Let us go back to what we were talking about, Mia smiled, breaking the tension as if sweeping away dark clouds. Emily took a breath, a smile flickering on her face. It felt like a new dawn was breaking, one filled with possibilities. There was still a storm brewing, but at this moment, she had more than just herself. She had support, but as the laughter resumed and the warmth returned, a thought nagged at her. Would others in her life respond like Diane? Would sharing her truth lead her to a deeper understanding or more pain? How many more battles would she have to fight to truly be herself? The night stretched on, but the shadows of self-doubt that had haunted Emily began to dissolve in the warmth of her friend's support. Jake stood firmly beside her, radiating a quiet confidence that she drew strength from. You've got this, Em, he whispered, his voice steady and filled with belief. That moment with Diane had shaken her, but rather than retreat, Emily felt embers of courage igniting within her. It wasn't just about proving herself to her sister, this was her chance to honor the journey she had traveled. As she glanced around, she realized she was standing among those who understood the weight of dreams and the struggle it took to rise above expectations. "Let us go back to our plans," Emily declared, her heart racing not with fear, but with anticipation. "We have a purpose to fulfill. I want to show everyone what we can do together." The surrounding crowd buzzed with interest again, and as laughter erupted once more, Emily grew excited at the prospect of sharing her and Jake's message, one of resilience, of hope, of finding your voice amid the noise. Jake stepped forward. "We're not just sharing stories. We want to pull others into this conversation, to show them the importance of understanding one another from the inside out." The crowd's energy shifted from playful to engaged, nodding in agreement, as they leaned in, eager to hear more. "Together, we can hold workshops," Emily continued, emboldened. "Not just about safety but about understanding struggles. Let us create a community where everyone can lift one another." That idea sent ripples through the group. Kyle spoke up, "I'd love to help. I can gather resources on safety measures and personal stories." Mia enthusiastically jumped in, "I can handle social media, get the word out." The excitement became infectious, drawing chatter and laughter, blossoming into something tangible and hopeful. In the swirling energy, Emily felt something she had craved for so long, a place where she belonged, a community that would fight through storms together. As the night wore on, they brainstormed, laughing, sharing, and weaving their dreams into plans. The narrative shifted from insecurity to unity, from fear to soaring ambition. She felt the shadows of doubt recede further and further away with each shared idea and excited voice. Suddenly, her gaze caught Jake's. He stood leaning back against the fence, watching her with a radiant smile that filled her heart. "Look how far we've come," he said quietly, almost as if talking to himself. "I never imagined this could spark something so powerful." Emily nodded, the weight of what was unfolding settling comfortably over her. "This is just the beginning," she murmured back. The future spread before them like an open page, ready for their story. Days turned into weeks, and as they worked tirelessly to organize their first workshop, the momentum never faltered. They discovered the journeys of others, stories of vulnerability that resonated deep. Revelations flowed freely as faces turned from unfamiliar to kindred spirits. And Diane? The initial sting of her disapproval faded over time. Emily realized that she didn't need her sister's support to justify her path. She found strength in knowing that she was forging her own identity, independent of expectations past. As the workshop day approached, Emily's heart swelled with joy. She stood in front of the gathering crowd, a mix of familiar and new faces. "Welcome, everyone. I'm so grateful to see each of you here. Today, we're not just sharing skills but stories, truths, and the strength that comes from connections," she began, her voice clear and resolute. Laughter and clapping filled the air, pulses of encouragement that reminded her of the loving support she had found. Jake joined her at the front, their partnership evident in every gesture. Together, they created an atmosphere of acceptance, where no one felt the need to hide. They cheered for accomplishments, recognized struggles, and embraced learning as a joint adventure. As they closed the workshop, the crowd erupted in applause. Emily felt a wave of emotion welling within her. It was more than just fulfillment, it was the community they had built together. "Thank you," she said, tears of joy prickling her eyes. "Together, we're stronger. And together, we can help each other find our way." The crowd echoed back their own gratitude. It felt like home, sweet and thriving, a testament to the change they had ignited. Emily embraced Jake tightly, laughter bubbling between them as fresh hopes glimmered, fears now holding no power over their aspirations. They had transformed chaos into community, doubt into purpose, and more importantly their relationship had grown into something profoundly beautiful and strong. No storms could shake them now. The light was brighter than ever, and the future? Well, it sparkled with endless possibilities. This was their moment, their shared journey, a testament to love, resilience, and adventure. "Now, it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire your own journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others find these uplifting tales. Comment your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. Your support means everything. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support and be part of a community that rises together. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Let us spread this message far and wide.